Okay. I know most of the NHL action is starting up between now and, let's say, the end of today. But when it comes to the early preseason, and I mean preseason as in before the regular season period of time, predictions, this is finally, I think, like the last day that we have to go out there and actually talk about what we can see heading into 22-23. And so, for the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are a team that I am slowly, carefully, just kind of curiously paying attention to as the season goes on, I wanted to talk about their brand new number one duo. Because when it comes to Aaron Portzline on The Athletic, there was indeed a piece published on, October 9th, so 3 days ago, asking the question as to whether or not Johnny Gaudreau and Patrik Laine will gel for Columbus as the season opens. Let's talk about this pairing here today, talk about where we could see their point totals go, how well they've performed so far in the preseason, and just what we could be expecting heading into the Blue Jackets' first game against the Hurricanes. I believe it's going to be later today. So, Patrik Laine has been a Columbus Blue Jacket for a while. He was traded over there from the Winnipeg Jets in the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. He really did just fix himself last season, getting 56 points in 56 games, played 26 goals and 30 assists. Sure, he had himself a pretty poor showcase in 2020-2021 after getting sent over to Columbus, but as we had said, after settling in, having the fans really accustom themselves to him and his style of play, Patrik Laine really did bounce back in the best way possible. Sure, he's still due to get 70 points again, he's still due to get 40 goals again, that in which he accomplished back 4 years ago with the Winnipeg Jets as a second-year NHLer. But for Patrik Laine, he still is 24 years old, he's still got a goal-scoring ability that I think a lot of people can acknowledge is still there. I mean, Patrik Laine is still a very talented player, and last season, his 30 assists in 56 games played was his second most productive season for assists, so you can see that he's actually going out there and improving his playmaking as well. Meanwhile, you have yourselves Johnny Gaudreau, the big fish, the number one free agent. Actually, it's kind of funny that we said big fish. He's not really that big. He's only, 5'9", so not really the biggest fish out there, but in terms of the magnitude of importance, he is the biggest fish that we had seen enter the free agency pool in recent years. He was a Calgary Flames superstar. He was tied for second most points in the NHL last season with 115 points in 82 games played. He was over a point per game in the playoffs as the Flames lost in the second round to the Oilers. He had 40 goals and 75 assists in the regular season last year. So absolutely earth-shattering numbers in terms of assists, in terms of goals, in terms of overall points. Johnny Gaudreau has been a monster in the NHL for a while. Now, we have ourselves this piece coming out on The Athletic, talking about these two, Laine and Gaudreau, and whether or not they'll be able to gel, published by Portzline. The link will be in the description if you want to go ahead and read this piece. What we're going to do is go over onto the Columbus Blue Jackets subreddit, because D.W. Larkin went out there and posted this article on the page, and what Larkin also did was they commented this in the comments section. Whoa, this is odd. I have a Google Pixel, and this article came up as a recommended reading notification. I went to the news homepage, and I was able to view this entire thing without a subscription. With that being said, here are the cliff notes on the piece. You see, this is kind of the caveat. I'm not going out there and screenshotting The Athletic, which is paid-for material. I'm screenshotting a comment that you can find on Reddit for free that doesn't have a paywall, that just happens to highlight the same thing talked about in the article. So pretty much, D.W. Larkin's summary of the Portzline piece talks about how Laine and Gaudreau seem to click no matter who centers them, and that Columbus Blue Jackets head coach Brad Larsen is hoping for the team to step up on D and limit high-danger chances against. Now, those 2 points are not really related, they're just kind of there, but when it comes to the first one, Laine and Gaudreau seeming to click no matter who centers them. Honestly, is anybody really surprised? I mean, Johnny Gaudreau was the second most productive player in the NHL last season, tied with Huberdeau, that in which replaced Gaudreau on the Flames, so that's kind of funny how that works. But you have Patrik Laine, who was always touted for his hockey IQ and his goal-scoring ability and his overall offensive package as a big 6'4" right-wing, right-handed sniper. Gaudreau is going to be playing with Laine, and if I'm going to be honest, and this is no disrespect to the Elias Lindholms and the Mateychuks and the Monahans and the Yuri Hudlers of the world, would it be too unfair to say that Patrik Laine is the most talented goal scorer that Johnny Gaudreau has ever played with, or that he might ever play with, period. I know Mateychuk had 100 points last year. The guy's really talented. I know Elias Lindholm was very fantastic as well. He was probably good enough defensively to win the Selke, and the guy scores goals like crazy. But when it comes to pure, raw, just unadulterated goal-scoring prowess, I think Patrik Laine kind of takes the cake, not just in terms of his shot per se, but it's the shooting itself. Not just the ability to throw the puck towards the goal, but what he does to set himself up to do that. How he positions his stick, how he positions his feet to get the maximum power, how he's able to shoot in stride, how he's able to take long wrist shots from the point that go in once in a while because he's just so strong on his release, how he's able to dangle by guys if he really needs to, how he can really pick up speed when he decides to charge down the wing and force goals through sheer power of will. Patrik Laine is a guy that I really do feel like we need to see more out of because he has more to give in the tank. And with Johnny Gaudreau being the guy who centers this dude, or not centers this dude, but plays on the opposite wing of this dude, it's going to be really interesting because, I'm sorry, Patrik Laine has never played with anybody as talented as Gaudreau either. I mean, what, you want to talk about Mark Scheifele? Mark Scheifele's pretty good. Let's talk about any other Blue Jackets that were on this team last year. You got Texier, Voracek was in there, you could say Nyquist. I mean, they're all pretty skilled players, but none of these guys are Johnny Gaudreau. This is a match made in heaven when it comes to playmaker, sniper, scorer. Both of these guys can put the puck in the back of the net. Both of these guys can fill the opponent's net with pucks, and it's going to be really interesting to see how exactly this translates on the power play when Johnny Gaudreau is feeding Patrik Laine for 3 goals a week, pretty much. It's why in my video talking about NHL predictions, I really wanted to just nail the point home that Patrik Laine playing with Gaudreau might go out there and really challenge Austin Matthews. Oh, do I want to say that? I mean, Matthews, Draisaitl, these guys are so good at scoring goals. You could even say somebody else could throw themselves into the race. If Kucherov is healthy the whole year, he could be setting up Stamkos left, right, and center. You could say that Kaprizov, I mean, if he's got Rossi centering him, then we'll see how exactly that goes down. But at the end of the day, Patrik Laine was behind Austin Matthews in terms of the draft coverage for a reason. Patrik Laine was neck and neck with Matthews in their Draft Plus 1 seasons for a reason. Patrik Laine is really gosh darn talented. And if they're gelling really well, no matter who centers them in the preseason, it doesn't really surprise me. If anything, I'm going to go out there and expect these guys to be the main contributors of Columbus Blue Jackets offense, and that's not even really too ambitious of a thing to say. I mean, Johnny Gaudreau is on this team. You think the guy's going to get 100 points again? I mean, he very well could. He's not playing with Tkachuk and Lindholm anymore, but he's got Patrik Laine there, and we'll see what Zach Werenski and Cole Sillinger and Igor Chinikov and Kent Johnson are going to be able to provide this team offensively as well, especially on a power play. It's going to be very nice seeing Johnny Gaudreau mentor a guy like Kent Johnson, showcase what it takes to be a dangler, an absolute gun-slinging, puck-touching demon when it comes to just creating fancy plays and doing really good things with the puck. Talk in the comments your thoughts about Patrik Laine and Johnny Gaudreau, and how many goals and points do you think these guys can produce together? If these guys both play 82 games and they're on the same line the whole way through, it wouldn't really surprise me if Patrik Laine gets like 50, 55 goals. I mean, he's talented enough to do it. He got 40 goals when he was 19, 20 years old, playing with whoever he was playing with on the Jets, Wheeler or Scheifele or whoever it was, so we'll see if he can do that with one of the best players in the entire gosh darn world. And if Patrik Laine can really just do his job right, finish off Johnny Gaudreau's chances like we know he can, Gaudreau getting 100 points again isn't too far off the table either. I know he doesn't have the strong supporting staff like he did in Calgary and Columbus, but still, there's potential here. And if guys like Chinikov, Sillinger, Kent Johnson, the younger guys on the team, are able to really take that step up, it could make all these other players' lives a lot easier when it comes to facilitating offense. So I'm really excited to see it happen. Talk in the comments your thoughts about Gaudreau and Laine. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.